welcome to Matchday Live here on Fox's Hub on Carabao Cup evening. Leicester City are looking to make it 6 wins from 6 at the start of this new season under the new reign of Enzo Maresca. The Italian manager has made 6 changes this evening to his side that beat Rotherham at the weekend in the Championship. Those changes are Stolarczyk, Justin Chowdhury, Albrighton, Cassidy and Jamie Vardy. Those that retain their place from Saturday are Wout Faes, Callum Doyle, Harry Winks, Steffi Mavididi and Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. So here is the Leicester 11 in full then. It's Jakub Stolarczyk in goal, Hamza Chowdhury, Callum Doyle, Wout Faes and James Justin across the back four. Harry Winks and Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall in midfield with Cassidy and Mavididi and Albrighton are either side of Jamie Vardy. The substitutes bench has Danny Ward, Hermansen, Nelson, Marçal, Yunus, new signing, and Yunus Akjun is on the bench for the Foxes this evening. Wilfred Ndidi, Yannick Vestergaard, Ricardo and Iheanacho. Tranmere's manager Ian Dawes makes 4 changes to the side that lost to Notts County at the weekend, with Joe Murphy, a story about him to come in just a moment from a certain Matt Elliott in the studio alongside me, Dan Pike, Sam Taylor and Josh Hawkes all coming in to the starting 11. This is their 11 then in full. They've got Murphy in goal, Merry, Turnbull, Davis and Yarni across the back four, Hendry, Morris and Jennings in midfield with Taylor and Hawkes in behind. Pike up front. So that is the Tranmere 11 then. Welcome along to Matchday Live. We've got Matty Fryatt and Matt Elliott sat in the studio alongside me, Dan Bates. Jerry Taggart is at Prenton Park. We'll speak to him in just a moment. But firstly, happy Tranmere Rovers in the League Cup day to you, Matt. It's a fixture that will always bring back good memories. Yeah,
well, it's a weird one. It pops up sort of every year at a certain time, the Carabao Cup final. But this one's, a little bit alternative, isn't it? The first time that Leicester have come up against Tranmere, certainly in this competition, possibly full stop, isn't it? Probably. I don't know, you have to check that one out, Batesy. Since 2000. And strangely, weirdly, bizarrely, however you want to describe it, the goalkeeper that appeared in 2000, Joe Murphy, is appearing tonight for Tranmere, which is ridiculous, really.
There he is.
Yeah, there he is. Just some people say, yourself
me
included, Batesy, suggesting that there was a hint of an own goal. Technically, I suppose so.
He did score.
But what people don't realise is I put a bit of spin on that ball. It was going to hit the bar, come down and bounce backwards, see, without his touch. But there's no way I'm having that nicked off me 23 years later. Got nowhere near that one though, Matty, did he?
No, he
didn't.
Rooted to the spot.
But I mean, how bizarre is that? I mean, it was 18-19 back then to appear in a major trophy final was something special for him. Didn't quite go his way, unfortunately, from his point of view, not mine. But here he is, 23 years later. Remarkable. Fair play to him.
We've got no fantastic memories of you against Tranmere, I'm afraid.
Thanks, Dan.
But it's another cup game, isn't it? And a chance, of course, for Leicester to progress further.
Yeah, it's another good opportunity, obviously, against low opposition. And if it's anything like the Burton game, I'd expect Leicester to cruise through in emphatic style. But the story with Matt is quite incredible to think that Joe Murphy's still playing 20-odd years on is some going, isn't it? Regardless if you can goal or not, it's fair play. So it's a chance for him. And yeah, it's just nicely set up, isn't it?
Yeah, it is the third time these two sides have met, by the way, since that cup final. Yeah, if you'd done your research, you'd have known that. They met twice in League One in the 2008.
I normally don't research that much because it's all in there anyway. But this is the first time in this competition, though, isn't it? Yeah. Since then, but
that's what you meant, isn't it? Of course.
Yeah, but that is what I said. But I also said I'm not sure if they have played each other. And one thing I didn't say, which I mentioned, did I mention I scored the winner in the semi-final as well back in 2000? But anyway, we won't go there.
We've got plenty coming up. The less from Matt Elliott, I think, the better over the course of the next hour or so. As much as we've said that, though, Matt, we will maybe talk about it a little bit later on as well.
Oh, okay.
But before we do that, though, we are going to hear from Yunus Akjun, the new signing, of course, who's joined on loan from Galatasaray this week. We'll look back at the win again, 5 wins from 5 at the start of this season with that win at Rotherham, and there he is again. A couple of classic strikes against Tranmere. And there was only going to be one option of what we were going to talk about.
You've shown it twice already.
Yeah, we'll show it 2 more times, mate. Don't worry about that. All right. firstly, the form this season, obviously at the start of the season, couldn't really have gone much better, Matty, could it?
No, it's been a perfect start in terms of the results on the board and the manner in which the team have performed. Looking back at the games of a quick reflection, I think first half's been generally on top, showing the Enzo Maresco type of play, the style that the team are trying to implement. Then a little bit sloppy just after half time, and then going strong and finishing the game, and sort of, whether it's fitness or composure, finish off the game really well and scoring late goals. But forming that winning habit, and sometimes even if you're not at your best, to go and win. And then tonight it's another chance to go on, progress. And if it's anything like the Burton game, it'll be good. It's exciting for the ones also coming in. I don't know if they've got a point to prove, but you also want your moment, your bit of the action, because you're seeing it from afar, and a couple of obviously experienced players coming into the starting 11, but they'll want to do it as well and sort of say, I want a piece of this, and who wouldn't want to play in this style of football?
No, exactly, and Matty makes a good point. Maybe Enzo Maresca himself will probably say that his side haven't played as well as he knows that they're capable of, but it doesn't really matter when you've won 4 in a row in the league, certainly 5 if you count this competition.
No, exactly. I think you'd be absolutely delighted. It goes without saying, really, if all the wins that they've had in all competitions. But they're not playing at full throttle, but you won't be expecting them to. I don't think at this early juncture, really. So they're still settling in together, gelling, etc. The squad's not even finalised yet for the season, with the window still being open. It could be outgoings and incomings, which is intriguing and interesting. And looking at you look at the squad tonight. There are concerns when you sort of first look at it. You think, some of the major players have exited, and there's still a worry about one or two what people would consider big players for Leicester, perhaps going out the door. But then players are coming in as well to fill in those gaps. But you look at that squad tonight. How many changes? 6, did you say?
6, yeah.
6 changes. That team could start at the weekend quite comfortably in the Championship. And then you look at the bench and you think, well, hang on, there's 6 changes made, and the bench is obviously strong because of the people coming out. They're not being rested totally. McAteer possibly, I don't know what the situation is there, but giving him a little breather. But it's quite again at Championship level. It's quite comforting, I would say, as a Leicester supporter when you look at that squad, look at that lineup tonight.
It looks really strong. Like the changes, again, as Matt said, you could play that team on Saturday, and he'd be more than good enough within the Championship, let alone League Two. But I don't know if it's a case of keep on going with that intent of Leicester want to win every game, regardless. So not too many changes, but the ones that come in are strong enough as well. But you're looking at it thinking, it's so strong. If you as a Tranmere player, you'd be thinking, hopefully they could have rested a couple of bigger players. But it's getting those patterns. You're seeing Doyle's playing in there, Winks wanting those continual patterns and getting that rhythm. So they're core components of the team, and it just highlights how important they are. But at the same time, if you're winning, you want to play. You want to play every single day, whether it's a Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, whatever day of the week. When you're winning, you just want the games coming. You could play all 46 Championship games in 46 days. It's the other way round. When it isn't going your way, it's a little bit more difficult, so you don't mind because you're just itching to go for the next game.
Yeah, of course. It was on Saturday, the last game for Leicester, and it was a victory on Saturday as well. It wasn't just the 3 points, though. Up at Rotherham on Saturday, there was an arrival through the door. Yunus Akjung has signed on a season-long loan from Galatasaray.
Yunus, welcome to the club. How are you feeling to be here?
Hoş bulduk. Dün buraya geldim. Çok mutluyum.
I got here yesterday. The people were lovely to me. They are very friendly and I'm very happy to be here.
Çok güzel insanlar var burada. Şu an çok mutluyum.
What was it that attracted you to come here to Leicester City?
Öncelikle şöyle, aslında Avrupa'dan...
First of all, I had some offers from Italy and France, but once I found out that Leicester City was interested, me and my manager said, let's go for it, because I've heard so much about Leicester City. I know Çağlar and Cengiz, and also when I was at Adana Demirspor, the captain was Gökhan Inler, who played for Leicester City, and he told me great things about the team and the club, so I'm very proud to be here.
Çok güzel şeyler söylediler. Kulübün ne kadar büyük bir kulüp olduğunu söylediler. Ben de burada şampiyonluğa oynamak için, şampiyon olmak için buradayım. Elimden ne gelirse onu yapacağım.
Before this point, you'd spent almost all of your career at Galatasaray. It must have been a fantastic experience to play among some of the best atmospheres in Europe.
Ben Galatasaray'da büyüdüm, Galatasaray'da yetiştim. Her şeyi yani açıkçası...
I grew up with Galatasaray. I've been there all my career. Galatasaray is a massive club and always doing great in Europe, with a lot of great supporters all around the world.
En iyi şeyleri yapıyor. Taraftar olarak mükemmel bir taraftara sahip. Gerçekten çok fantastik bir taraftar var. Gelen takımlar gerçekten çok...
The supporters are always passionate. I can see similarities with the Galatasaray supporters and the Leicester City supporters, so I'm very happy to be here.
Buna benzer takip ediyorum zaten. Bunu biliyordum buraya gelmeden de ne kadar büyük bir taraftar olduğunu. Açıkçası birbirlerine çok benziyorlar ve bu da bana çok anlam kattı yani.
And winning the league championship last season with Galatasaray, that must have been a major moment in your career to secure that trophy.
Tabii ki de Galatasaray'dan yetişip Galatasaray A takımında oynayan...
All the players coming through the youth teams, they would have one thing in mind. That's to play for the first team and win trophies, and I've done that. I was very lucky to do it. I've been bringing luck to every team I've played for, so I'm hoping that we'll win the league here.
That was new signing there, Yunus Akjung speaking after joining the club on Saturday. He settles for a place this evening, though, on the bench. Enzo Maresca has made 6 changes to the side that beat Rotherham at the weekend. Some of the headlines, I guess: Jamie Vardy in, Cesare Casadei makes his first start as well for the club this evening. It was a great last answer there, Matty, from Yunus, wasn't it? That he says he's brought luck to every club that he's been at. Let's hope that continues this season.
If the translation's right to begin with. No, but what an answer. Hopefully he continues. And it's good at this moment in time as well. There's no pressure on him sort of going in, it's a great position to be in. You're top of the league, you can bed him in. It'd be good for him to get minutes this evening, but the clips that I've seen online, he seems really exciting. Close control, nimble feet, cuts in off that right side, can either assist, score goals. As we mentioned last night, 19 involvements, goal involvements the season before. Obviously a good pedigree in terms of international and at a top club like Galatasaray. So, and if he can bring anything from his luck from previous clubs into Leicester, it'd be a pretty good signing.
It's a nice trait to have, isn't it? Hopefully that's the case. But I suppose people look at it and think he's been out on loan from Galatasaray for an extended period. You know, done reasonably okay.
I think 19 goal involvements is a good return for a winger in a season.
Yeah, no,
in the top
better
division.
than reasonable. Yeah, that was season 4 last, was it?
Yeah.
And last year, not quite the same returns, etc. So I don't know the ins and outs of it, but people will look at it and possibly sort of ask a few questions. You know, how come he's been out on loan for that long, and how's his development going? But in the day, Galatasaray, a big club, huge club, and some big name players there. It's not as easy as people might think to force your way through. So, but they've obviously, as it stands at the moment, they want to maintain an interest in him for him coming on loan. So that that in itself, you could twist that round and say it's a positive, really. As if they rate him highly. This is the opportunity for him to really push on, possibly, and no doubt he'll back himself because he seemed quietly confident, didn't he?
Yeah, obviously, hopefully we'll see him in action tonight, Matty. But you can see from the clips there, clearly he's got nimble footwork, close control, left-footed, cutting on off that right is very exciting. I mean, we saw that goal at the weekend from Casey McAteer.
Yeah, similar. You want that creative spark in that 1v1. Can someone drop a shoulder, jink, get past the man, or slide balls, get shots away? Sort of from the clips, Riyad Mahrez-esque. If he's anything like Riyad, he'd be unbelievable. But that sort of style of player, where it's in the draw the opponent in to try and nick the ball and then away past them. A little bit different to what Leicester have already got in terms of, it doesn't look an out-and-out pacey player, but enough to sort of drop half a yard and then go. A bit more creative, so it'd be interesting to see how that will form, but it gives a different dimension to the team, sort of trying to unlock defensive areas when teams are set up, and he looks like he's got that quality, and even on them clips, like you say, it's close control, that manipulation of the ball, and it's difficult to defend against that or play them cute little 1-2s.
Absolutely, and it wasn't a bad Saturday, was it, for Yunus Akjung? He signed for his new club, and his current teammates maintained their perfect start to the season with a 2-1 win up in South Yorkshire.
Ball in play by the corner flag. He's got the company of Lembiksa. He holds him off, he wins a throw. Mavididi takes the throw quickly into Iheanacho. He's in the penalty area. Dummy to play a back heel. Then chips a ball to the far post. McAtee's there. Leicester score. Leicester lead. Casey McAtee, his first goal for the club. What he will certainly remember as the Leicester fans to our right are joyous in celebration. Iheanacho used Dewsbury Hall in the end by not using him. He dummied the back heel. That created the space as he flicked one into the sky, and McAtee coming onto it from just a couple of inches out, but he was in the right place at the right time, and Leicester City lead. With Iheanacho closing him down, it stayed in play with Brummel, then Green through the legs of McAtee, opens up for the cross, it's chipped in towards Hugill, and it's in, it's Lembiksa. The fullback had made his way into the penalty area. Rotherham get themselves a goal early in this second half, and they kept the pressure on from the number of set pieces that they had had, and eventually the ball delivered in from the right, and Ndinya making his way into the 6-yard area, and just a glancing header. Leicester moving it to the left. Doyle, Cassidy making a late run into the penalty area. It's over him, it's over the defender. It's Casey McAtee, couldn't quite bring it under control. Left-footed! Oh, he's got it under control now, and he's bent the ball into the corner, and those Leicester fans have gone absolutely wild behind the goal, because McAtee, who has given Leicester the lead for the second time in this game, and that was a thing of beauty, onto his left foot and just bent it beyond the former Leicester goalkeeper. A day to remember for Casey McAtee.
What a move. Ended with what?
Yeah, quite a special day for Casey McAtee. He himself said it. He'll remember it for the rest of his life. A fantastic double and yet another 3 points for the Foxes. That game at the weekend was available to a number of you on Foxes Hub, particularly international audiences. You can watch a number of the Leicester City games on Foxes Hub this season. There is a seasonal video game pass available to you. The early bird offer is still available now, which is a great opportunity. It's to get it significantly cheaper than what you would do. You've got until September the 1st, so literally a couple of days to pay for your seasonal passes. They're £170 for the season, but you can pay, if you do it before September 1st, for £140. So that's the early bird period. I'd make the most of that. That's particularly for the international audiences. For those in England, of course, some of the games will be available to you to watch throughout the season. All of them will be available, though, for you to listen to. You can get Listen Live passes for every month, or you can also do a seasonal pass as well. For any more information, all you need to do is head to lcfc.com/foxeshub. Those that will have watched the game at the weekend, Matt, were treated, and particularly those in the away end, were treated to an entertaining game and a fantastic winning goal late on yet again.
Yeah, it ended up superbly, didn't it? I mean, Matt mentioned it earlier, and it's true. There's almost a reoccurring theme, you know, about Leicester's games. You know, the way they dominate early on, and then it goes through a bit of a patch of the game or a phase of the game where you're not quite sure which way they're going to go and what sort of performance it is, and they come on strong, and they get the result at the end. They've scored late goals in pretty much every game in the league this season, and
5 of the 7 league goals this season have come after the 70th.
Right, there you go. You know, great quality to have as well, without a doubt. And it shows a number of things. You know, it shows belief in what they're doing. It shows fitness. It shows patience, and that ability to, you know, to keep going and wear down oppositions. I think as much as anything, But yeah, but listen, when it happens, it's even better for the supporters, isn't it? You know, rather than, I don't know, some people might disagree, than cruising 3-4-0, whatever. You know, there's a little bit more drama involved, but yeah, I felt they played reasonably well. I thought they deserved the win, but it wasn't hugely convincing. You know, against, I don't know. Listen, you want a perfect world. They've had a perfect start in terms of points, but I don't know. There's nothing wrong with expecting more, because then you drive yourself to higher standards. And hopefully that, you know, the boys are doing that, and I'm sure the manager is. But they don't want to. Part of the reason that they won is credit to them, but also slight deficiencies from the opposition. The defending was weak on both goals. You're not going to get that every week. You know, there's still room for improvement for Leicester, I think, and that will drive them onwards.
Yeah, on top of that as well, the goals that have been scored, there's nothing going against. So as much as Leicester scored after the 70th minute, the opposition haven't really threatened the goal. Even the goal, and softish sort of goal. But once Leicester got in front, you never really felt as if Rotherham were ever going to score. Yes, they put everything into the game, but they didn't really cause much of a threat. Looking at the Cardiff game, there's the one chance in the sort of second half, but you don't feel as if they're under immense pressure in terms of the goals just being non-stop and the opposition throwing the kitchen sink. You always feel as if Leicester could go up another level.
Not in general play, do you, Matt?
No.
You just, like it's Leicester's sloppiness that lets teams into it.
But you're not there thinking, oh, good, they're hanging on for dear life, or there's a last-minute block, or bodies smothering the goal, and you feel comfortable. Once they got obviously it was a brilliant finish and a special day for Casey McAteer, but then after that they controlled the game, just saw it through, and I can't even remember Rotherham really crossing the halfway line, getting into Leicester's area. Leicester just controlled it, saw out the game, and it was job done. Even though there are levels to go on and improve, it just shows there's even more to come, but still doing the job in the right way.
Yeah, Jerry made a great point on the show on Extra Time last night, that in that, what was it, 7 minutes, 8 minutes added on, you'd probably naturally worry, wouldn't you? Only a goal up away from home, the home crowd then can get excited. I think we've actually got Jerry at Prenton Park. Jerry, you were saying that in that 8-minute spell, Rotherham hardly laid a glove on Leicester. Leicester just were able to keep the ball off them, and that was brilliant. Good evening, by the way, Jerry.
Yeah, good evening, chaps. Yeah, I was just mentioning, I think it was Callum Doyle just before the extra time. Board went up, he ran into the corner, and I was just saying to myself, no, keep passing it, keep moving it, and once the board went up, that's exactly what they did, and they must have possession of the ball for 90% of that injury time that went up. And it was just so impressive to watch. You know, just controlled the game right till the very end.
Which is what you need, I guess. That's professional football, really, at this level.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not saying that there's always that option of running into the corner, but I think after that goal went in, they sort of took a bit of the sting out of Rotherham, and you could physically see Rotherham on the pitch that they were tired. And so when it came to, you know, the injury time, board going up, and you're seeing however long it was, I think it might have been 7 or 8 minutes, whatever, and you're thinking, yeah, keep moving it, keep doing the right things. And I mean, Rotherham couldn't go and chase them for a couple of reasons. One, they're absolutely knackered, and two, Leicester were just keeping the ball that well. You know, they were just finding the gaps, and they were comfortable in what they were doing.
Are you impressed with that professionalism, Matt, from Leicester at the start of a new season? A number of new players, new manager.
Yeah. I think the way they come together well, and they don't look like a team that's, you know, there are players from last year, obviously, but they don't look like a team that's, you know, just being thrown together. What they've taken on board and how they've adapted, I think, in relatively short space of time, it's pretty impressive, really. And I think you know, Jerry's bang on there. A lot of teams concede that goal. Yeah, it's a body blow. But if you felt you were sort of unjust in going down, you know, and losing that game, you'd rally yourselves and go, right, come on, let's give it a real burst at the last few minutes, whatever. But they couldn't do it. No. They didn't have it within them. That goal that McAteer, the second goal, just killed them off. They were like, they'd given their everything to be just hanging on to level terms. as soon as they went under, that was it. Job done. Game over, pretty much.
Cardiff had done similar the week before as well.
Exactly the same. Obviously, Leicester didn't look too threatening in the game, but managed to get one in the 92nd minute, whenever it was, and then there's the injury time played on that. I can't even remember Cardiff going much into Leicester's half, or the keeper called into any action, or defensively the scrambling. It's all control and just seeing out the game. You think this is going to end now 2-1, or even Leicester might get an added goal, but it just seems all controlled and just settled, people in positions, and then it's a case of keep ball, and the other team are on the last legs, but you've still got to do it, and like say, in a professional manner, but it feels relaxed watching it as well. You're in front, see the game through, and then the ref blows the whistle, job done. But it's a good habit to have that. You take and that control, and could be a little bit of the fitness, as we spoke on, and the quality. We're talking about the players that have come in. Harry Winks, for example, an international player. So he's got that control more, as opposed to, say, if you're playing some Rotherham players, for example, they might not have that composure. At the same time, you've got to do all the stuff in the game, but those final moments and that detail, just control it, or seeing the game through it in the right way.
Exciting to see that man, Cesare Casadei, make his first start for the club tonight.
Yeah, I was just having thoughts of him in my head there, thinking about, the differences from sort of last season. Really, I know it's a different level, but Leicester, the patience that Leicester play with, that's a directive from the manager, 100%. Like coming through, keep doing the same things, what he believes in, and he wants his players to believe in that, and don't get ruffled, and let it be a scramble and a bit of a fight, because then it is a gamble. He believes in a certain way of playing, and he wants his players to do that. Last year, I think, it was a different style of football, but sometimes there was a little bit of frustration that Leicester didn't change it at times, because the passing was slow and predictable. But sometimes it needed a bit of let's have a go at it and put things in the mix, etc. But there's more purpose about their play. Again, at a different level. But Casadei being one of them. He's forceful. I know he hasn't featured too much, but Wilfred Ndidi playing a different role, but even he's getting further forward. But Casadei, there's a big onus on getting players in the box. Dewsbury Hall in the box more. It's a little bit of a gamble in a different sense, in terms of when they turn the ball over, you're not necessarily set up defensively as well as you might like to be, but it's a different onus. But they just keep probing, keep persevering, keep putting balls into the right areas at the right times, and eventually they've got confidence that it will pay off. Up to now, that process has worked.
The goal at the weekend, the winner, Cesare Casadei, made a run into the box, didn't he? Took one of the defenders away.
Exactly. Yeah, things like that. Sorry, mate, but yeah, it's his natural game, and that's why he's been brought in. The manager's recognised that, and again, proven successful.
I think he'll suit more Casadei in terms of Wilf's being asked to do a different role. Something, obviously, in the last round against Burton, he got forward, managed to get a goal, but I think he's had to adapt his game, as Casadei suits more, even that decoy run, but getting involved, getting into the box. As we spoke about in the Youth World Cup, managed to be top scorer. He's used to being into those positions and breaking forward, whether it was he played a huge part in that goal, he still took someone away, and it was actually poor defending in terms of the left back got drawn in. And McAteer exploited that, but at the same time he's breaking through and getting forward, and probably a little bit more suited than Ndidi in terms of that position. It's something Wilf's adapting to, but Casadei in time will obviously get his opportunity tonight and see how he takes that, but at the same time I think it's more suited for his game being more advanced, and it's something also Keenan, he's now into further advanced positions, as sometimes before he's doing everything bit more withdrawn, and now we can go forward with that licence and get into the scoring positions as he did it against Coventry.
Yeah, if you are only just joining us here on Matchday Live this evening, we're half an hour away from kick-off in the Carabao Cup second round game away at Tranmere Rovers. We've just been speaking about Cesare Casadei. He makes his first Leicester City start this evening. New man Yunus Akçam is on the bench. This is the Leicester 11 then in full. Jakub Stolarczyk, he's come in, as has Hamza Chowdhury and James Justin into that back line. Callum Doyle and Wout Faes retain their spots from the weekend. It's a midfield three of Casadei, Winks and Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, with Mavididi and Mark Albrighton in behind. Tonight's captain, Jamie Vardy. From a Tranmere Rovers point of view, they have Murphy in goal, a name that always brings a smile to Matt Elliott's face. We'll get to that in just a moment. Merry is their left back, Turnbull and Davis the two central defenders, with Yarni at right back. In midfield they've got Hendry, Morris and Jennings, with Taylor and Hawkes either side of Dan Pike up front. The reason I mentioned the Tranmere goalkeeper Joe Murphy is because, quite staggeringly, he was the goalkeeper 23 years ago when a certain Matt Elliott scored a couple of goals at Wembley in a fantastic day in the history of this football club.
Elliott will be a target in the centre along with Jerry Taggart. Eski is on the near post. Here's Elliott! Crossbar in! Matt Elliott strikes for Leicester City. Elliott, the hero of the semi-final, has done it again for the call of Tranmere Rovers. Guppy now with the corner. It's Elliott! And then back in front. Tranmere's joy is short-lived, and it's Elliott again.
Well, yes, Matt, I mean, 23 years ago, over 23 years ago, how many times do you reckon you've watched those two goals back? We probably put you through it a number of times.
Fair few times, to be fair, not through my own doing. They just pop up left, right and centre. My son sent them through today. You know, have you seen this? Yeah. But, yeah, no, it's always nice to have a look. I never shy away from it. But I was just doing, so I don't think I've watched the actual game at all. I don't think, you know, like rerun it and taking the time to do that. Perhaps I might do soon, if you get a bit of spare time. If you stop dragging me in here all the time, working my socks off, me and Matt. But, yeah, listen, it was happy days. I mean, there's a few little stories around it. You might remember I scored the win in the semi as well, but got mentioned there. But, no, not that. It was like my youngest son was due to be born on that day. And my then wife was like, okay, well, so, you know, Alfie's called, he was going to be called that anyway. If he's born on that day, then obviously you're going to come to the birth, not the final, are you? And I was like, well, we'll see about that one. And then Martin Neal, the manager, said, Matty, what are you going to do? I said, look, I've got other kids, I ain't got other cup finals. I'll be in a cup final, don't worry. Not like the modern day players, a lot of time the players miss the games, don't they? They're never going to miss that. And on top of that, my dad, who's no longer around, he backed me first and last goal scorer, £20 each. He won £600 on the day as well. So, happy days all round, yeah, good memories. Great memories. Jerry, of course, you were playing, you even got a mention in that. You made a good decoy run, didn't you, from the corner for Matt's first goal. That's got to be one of the greatest moments in your career, winning that trophy that day.
And the second goal, Dan. I made the near post run. And he didn't, because he was too lazy to make that run.
And he was partly at fault for their goal.
Yeah.
With me.
Well, no, he was more at fault than I was for their goal.
Here we go.
And he never shuts up about those two goals and his dad winning the money. Or the semi-final goal. He never shuts up about them. But why would you? Why would you?
Yeah, great memories, Jerry. And even going up there today, I don't know how many times you've been to Prenton Park since that moment, but it must... I know it obviously wasn't there, but still playing against Tranmere must bring back those memories.
Yeah, well, it goes without saying, isn't it? You know, I always say, especially from losing the final the year before against Tottenham. You know, it was a big day, as you say, nervy day. You know, we could have put the game to bed a lot sooner and a lot easier than what we did. But you know, I suppose on days like that, the only thing that matters is getting over the line, and that's what we managed to do. So yeah, it was a big day for the pair of us and for everybody. You know, everybody involved. But you've got two of us here speaking, so momentous.
Yeah, you both always like to talk about it, and as Jerry says, why wouldn't you?
Well, it was a big day, and there was a few big days after it as well, to be fair. We celebrated for a few days. Then my son was born 3 days later, so we celebrated for another couple of days. Somehow we managed to win the game the following weekend. Again, perhaps we should have done it more often, not that we didn't do it that much. We played Sunderland the following weekend, and that's when Stan got his hat-trick. We beat him 5-2, and probably the best we've ever played collectively as a group. Unfortunately, it wasn't to continue because Emil left, but yeah, good times, good times.
Let's fast forward then to the present day. Matty Fryer, you're getting jealous. You've not said too much on that. You've played in a cup final yourself, of course. Not in this competition, but Leicester. It's the second round. They'll they're playing League Two opposition. They'll hope they can get the victory tonight. Then you're into the third round, and we've seen them have great cup runs in recent seasons. A lot of the players involved in that, they're capable of going up there, winning tonight, and going further and further in this competition.
More than capable, and the ones coming in, want to know on obviously your feelings on it and Jerry's in terms of a player. Say for example James Justin, more than capable in his own right, but is it harder to come in and sort of take that opportunity being a defensive player, because you also have to show patience when you're out of the team, but then you don't want to do over too much eagerness.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see how he approaches the game.
Yeah, good question, really. I mean, I know what you're saying, sort of trying to over-impress.
Yeah.
You end up making mistakes or taking risks in areas that you can't. I think they're probably confident enough in their own game. Certainly James Justin, isn't he, to acquit himself accordingly. I wouldn't be surprised if down the line, listen, we don't know what the manager's thinking, but I look at that back four. Obviously, I suppose Ricardo, you're including Ricardo, aren't you, fully fit? But the Justin Doyle situation, let's put it this way, could quite easily slot into league form and league selection like that. James Justin, Leicester have got a good squad, but is it good enough to afford James Justin's quality being on the bench? I don't know. I think sooner or later, I know he's had his injury, sooner or later they've got to find a space for him.
I guess, Jerry, that every single one of those 6 players that's coming from... we've not quite got Jerry. I'll come to you anyway, Matt, on that. Jerry's just gone to get his final pie, I think, before he has to do his commentary duties.
Don't overwork him.
Every single one of those 6 that's come in, barring maybe the goalkeeper, although he had 2 great games, 2 clean sheets when he came in. Every one of those players will be thinking, I feel like I could start in the league. So they've all got points to prove. Yeah,
it's an opportunity. Obviously, it's game. You want to be involved when the team's winning. You want a piece of that action. Someone like Jamie Vardy, he'll want to get on the score sheet. And it's an opportunity against lower opposition tonight to go and put your marker down. If he bangs in a hat-trick, for example, he could be again starting at the weekend. And there's other players within there. They want to show what they can do as well. Hamza Chowdhury, it might be a different role. You're sort of seeing him adapting as much as on as left back. He'll be sort of in the centre of the park, then back at left back, and it's sort of evolving his game as well, but showing that he can be adaptable and sort of part of the team as well moving forward.
Well, I suppose on that one, with Hamza, when you mentioned about being left back, I personally think Justin would be left back, Hamza right back, but you don't know. There could be either. But also, Hamza, I'll be interested to see which one plays that inverted role. They're both capable. You probably
Hamza's
think,
done it.
Yeah,
twice,
Hamza's done it.
But
he's more naturally suited because he plays in midfield anyway. He's a more than decent fullback, by the way. As a kid, I never saw anyone go past him 1v1 when he was working at the academy. I said that until he made his debut as right back. He's not his debut, but his first game as a right back against Tottenham. He had a bit of a stinker when it ended up about 5-4 or something, or 4-3. But he's more than capable of playing at right back, out and out position. But again, more strings to Maresca's bow, isn't it?
Well, yeah, funny we should be talking about Hamza Chowdhury. He is one of the 6 changes that have come into the team this evening for the game at Tranmere, and he's been speaking to our commentator John Dunn before kick-off.
Hamza, a break from the league tonight. It's Tranmere in the cup. What are the expectations of the opposition tonight?
From what we've seen, they look a very good side. They want to play. They'll obviously be wanting to come here and beat us tonight, so we're expecting a competitive game, but our expectations are the same, to win every game, and we'll come here with a lot of confidence, having done that last four games.
Obviously 100% record league and cup, 3 wins from 3 away from home. Players come here in really confident move tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I think not just from the results, just the way we played and how we've been through pre-season, and and what our aims are for the season. The gaffer's filled us with confidence and a new style of playing, so we come into every game feeling confident, and hopefully we can get another win tonight.
You played in the first round at Burton. Are you expecting a similar atmosphere, a similar game tonight?
Yeah, definitely. I think all the EFL teams they bring the same atmosphere and sort of the same intensity to the game. So we're looking forward to it, and we prepare the same for every game. So we're taking it very seriously and hopefully, like I say, win it.
And at Burton, you played in that inverted fullback role, something new for you. How much did you enjoy it? How much have you taken from that experience?
Yeah, I enjoyed it very much. I enjoyed playing football at the end of the day, and the gaffer thinks I can bring something to the team in this position, so I've been enjoying doing it. On the ball, it's where I normally play. It's off the ball, it's a little bit different, but I did it whilst I was younger, so I'm sort of used to it. But no, I'm enjoying it.
That was Hamza Chowdhury speaking, of course, at Prenton Park as we lead up to kick-off, which is around about 20 minutes or so away. Hamza's talking about that role that we've just been talking about, and he says that he enjoys doing it. And you know what? You don't blame him. You see that position. It must be quite an enjoyable one to play.
It would be always wanting to receive the ball. That's what Enzo Maresca wants. He wants the players on the ball. He wants to draw the opposition in to play around, and it's a case of, can you always go and find the ball? When you haven't got it, can you fill in at that left back position or right back position? But it shows the adaptability on it, but it's a case of, can you get on the ball? And we saw against Burton, and I'm sure we'll see it tonight, against lower opposition, you can keep on playing the ball, but when they win the ball, you apply a bit of pressure and they turn it over more often. That's why they concede more goals, more mistakes. So if Leicester are on it in terms of moving the ball quickly, trying to get an early goal, but if it turns over, I can't imagine Tranmere keeping it that often with the pressure that Leicester apply. Players around the ball, you've got the overload, the advantage in the middle of the park, and then the spare players out wide. So it's one of them as well in terms of, even if Tranmere get it back for all Leicester's good play, they won't have that same sort of composure to then go and play themselves as much. So it's a great game to be in, because how many touches is it going to have? God knows how many touches that he's going to be involved in. That's what you want as a player. You always want to keep on receiving the ball.
He's sort of the go-to guy, isn't he, really, in that position?
Yeah, I think people have looked at who could possibly replace at the moment with the squad as it is if Winks wasn't available. And you look at it, and I suppose most likely Hamza, really. Naturally in that role. Yeah, they're different sort of players, but he could fill in there. But to be for that position tonight, I mentioned about his ability. Not everyone's aware of it possibly, because it was when he was younger as a fullback, and then they in the academy they almost not entirely sure why that, but they converted him to holding midfielder, and he took to it well. But on the back of that, theoretically he's almost the perfect sort of type of player to play that role. He's accustomed to both. Perhaps I suppose at Hamza you could look at him, maybe look to develop his range of passing a little bit more. He's a little, not a destroyer as such, but he's very quick and sharp into the challenge, breaks up play, and then it's just the steady, easy pass, which is fine in that role tonight. But perhaps he could look for a little bit more creativity further down the line. But you're talking about the turnover, Matty. There, he is the ideal man for that. Because if Leicester, even when they do give the ball away, then opposition, he's so sharp into the challenge, covers the ground well as well.
And on that, he'll naturally fill in. We've seen him in that defensive role. If the centre backs, I know it's slightly different now, but if the centre backs are caught out wide, he'll fill in between. He does that really well. And even against Burton, you saw him going more to the full-back positions, but it's hard to beat in a 1v1. He's aggressive in the tackle, he's firm, he'll put his foot in, as you say, and especially on the turnover, first ball, he'll be there to tackle, and then, as Matt said, sometimes just that little bit composure, and I think it'll suit him a little bit more, because he won't have to go for all the flashy balls, them longer passes. It more of a case of drawing the opposition in with 5-10 yard passes, which might suit it, because you're just refining it in terms of keeping it a little bit more basic, to then when the space does open up, to then play the passes. Sometimes before, it's always, can you get out wide through a bigger diagonal, which is sometimes a little bit more predictable.
And he's got what, Harry Winks, Kiernan Dewsbury Hall and Cesare Casadei. We don't know too much about Casadei. It's his first start tonight. We know he's clearly good on the ball. So he's got three players in front of him, technically with him in midfield, that we know their range of passing is quality. If all he needs to do is pop it off, that's all he can.
Yeah, exactly. As Matt says, the quite intricate passing in further up the pitch, but it's short and sharp and precise, and Hamza's very mobile, agile as well, and he gets into positions quickly, and he's developing his game, but he'll be relishing it. Yeah, the opportunity to get in there. And Leicester have got, they've got good players with the ball throughout the team, haven't they? Out wide as well. You've got good quality, particularly at this level. Again, I keep saying that, but it is relevant. But yeah, I mean, as Jerry said at the weekend, if you like playing football, why would you not like playing in an Enzo Maresca team? It's almost sort of dreamland if you can carry it out as instructed.
And if they do tonight, that'll be 6 wins from 6 at the start of the season in League and Cup, which has been regardless, even if they lose tonight, it's still been a fantastic start to life under Enzo Maresca.
Yeah, it's been really good, and you'd expect the same tonight. I expect it all to be Leicester in terms of can they break down a sort of dogged, spirited Tranmere team, but they won't possess the same quality even as what Rotherham showed. You've got to do all the things right and the right to sort of play. If they can especially get an early goal, then it'll just naturally draw Tranmere out even more to then play through. But you'd expect Leicester to go through, and certain players coming in to make an impression on things, as we touched on. Cassidy, him coming in for his first start, he'll want to do well. Mark Albrighton, again, playing, you always know what he can do, always does a professional job, as we touched on. Jamie Vardy, he'll want to be amongst the goals. But expect Leicester to go and make it 6 tonight.
Yep. Tonight's game, unfortunately, isn't available to watch wherever you are in the world, but you can, of course, listen to the game this evening. Listen live passes are available for the game tonight. All you need to do is head to lcfc.com/FoxesHub. You can get either a monthly pass or a seasonal pass for listening along. The early bird offers as well ends on September 1st, so you've got a couple of days. If you do get onto the website, sign up for those. It's significantly cheaper to do that before the deadline, which is on Saturday. Right, it is now indeed time to hand over to our commentary team for tonight's second round clash against Tranmere in the Carabao Cup, where hopefully Leicester can make further progress in this competition, as well as making it 6 wins from 6 at the start of the season.
The new season's nearly here and the opinions are getting stronger.
We've got serious pulling power now.
Oh, to get the top 2 players now.
Aye?
It's like I've been saying, if he settles the squad, we'll be back on top.
Only this time we're going for the quadruple.
You are joking, aren't you?
The time for talk is nearly over.
With over £4 million in free bet giveaways and huge price boosts, kick off your season with Sky Bet. That's betting better.
You're built different. Breathing new life into broken. Taking matters into your own hands. Assembling big dreams from the small things. Never stopping until you find right part at the right price. That's the eBay way.
Hello, football fans. This is a smart meter display. It helps you tackle energy usage manage your spending, and keep you on target. Now that's a hat trick. Search Get a Smart Meter today.
And it's a warm welcome to Merseyside here on Fox's Hub. Carabao Cup action this evening as Leicester look to continue their record-breaking start to the season. And after dispensing of League One Burton in round one, tonight it's League Two opposition in round two in the shape of Tranmere Rovers. It's the team that City beat when they last lifted this trophy back in the year 2000.